Hi, this is a short video on the two methods to select non-adjacent columns or rows, non-adjacent data in Excel. Let's say I want to create a chart with this data in front of me and I want to select the program and the total to make a basic pie chart. As soon as I select one and then move over to the other and use my mouse and click and select, it undoes my first selection. So to get around that with a mouse, you hold down your control key. So I select the first column, then I hold down my control key and with my mouse select the next column. But if you're typing away and you don't want to take your hands off the keyboard and use your mouse, or you're visually impaired and can't use a mouse, there's two methods that you can select non-adjacent columns with. The first one is the Shift F8 method. So the first thing I do is press Control and Home. That guarantees to move me to A1, so at least I know where I am. And I want to select the program down to YouTube, the column A. It's Control and down arrow jumps me to the top, and then Control Shift and down arrow, that selects that column. Now I have to use the non-adjacent method, and it's Shift F8. So I'm holding down Shift and doing F8, and down the bottom in the status bar underneath where I've got CAS2 in brackets, I don't know whether you can see that with a mouse, but down there, let me press Shift F8 again and again, so it's added the add or remove to selection. So if that's not on the status bar and I move my arrow keys, I lose my selection. I'm just going to reselect that, and now if I press Shift F8, down in the status bar it says add or remove to selection. Now I can move anywhere on the screen and it won't lose my selection. So I'm moving my arrow key over to total, and now I'm going to select the total column with Control, Shift and down arrow. Shift and down arrow would have worked, but Control jumps you to the bottom. And now I can, let's say I'm going to make a pie chart, so I'm going to press, and I want to make it on a separate sheet, so I'm going to press F11, and now I'm going to change it to a pie chart. So that's Alt to open up the ribbons. I need the chart design ribbon, so it's JC, and I need the change chart type, which is C, and I want to make it a pie chart, so I'll press P for pie. Actually I'll do it a 3D, and I'll change that style very quickly. So I'm going to go Alt J C S for style and choose that. That one will be fine. I'll come back to that. So that's method one. I'll just go through and select a few more columns. So press Control and Home just to get to the beginning. Control down arrow to jump to the first column. Control Shift down arrow. And now remember, if I move my arrow keys now, I'll just undo my selection. So I have to do Shift and F8. That adds the add or remove selection to the status bar. Now I can come over, I'm going to do February. I'm going to go Control Shift down arrow to select it. But let's say I want to do April and June. I do have to do the Shift F8 again. You need to do it every time you want to add a new non-adjacent column. I can move to April, Control Shift down arrow, Shift F8 along to June, Control Shift down arrow to select June. So you can see I've selected four different areas there, but the problem is if I accidentally press a key, or if I use an arrow key, just move an arrow key, I lose all of my selections. Which, okay, you've got to be careful when you're doing anything, but it can be a bit annoying that sometimes. So if there's a really complicated selection, and Shift F8, using this method, Shift F8 is usually great for most things, but if it's a little bit complicated, I use the next method, which I call the go to method. I don't need to press Control Home in this instance to go to the beginning. Let's say I want to select the column A from program to YouTube again, and also the column H, which was the total, to make a pie chart. So column A starts on program, starts in cell reference A3, and it goes down to cell reference A11. And then the next column is H3 down to H11. So I press Control G, so I'm keeping my finger down on Control and pressing G, letting go. That pops up this go to box, but now I start typing A3 and then the symbol for a selection of cells is the colon. So now the last one was A11. Now if I just press enter on that, you'll see it selects from A3 to A11. If I didn't put that colon in, I would have had to do A4, A5, A6, A7, A9. But the colon in means anything in between. I go Control G again and type in. Ignore what it puts in. It's trying to be helpful. It's not. I type A3 colon A11. So the colon means everything between A3 and 11. Fill it in for you. But then I also wanted the column H, the total column. So you separate them with a comma. That means that tells Excel that there's another column being added, a separate column. And that was H3 colon H11. So I've got A3 to A11, a comma saying it's a new column, H3 to H11. Press enter on that and it will select both of them. Let me just give you another example. Let's say I wanted to select just that section there. I wouldn't, so that's, they're next to each other. So here I don't have to add a common. So let's just say that's A3 to C7. So I go Control G, A3 colon C7 and press enter. And that selects that lot there. Let me give you another example. Control G, I go A3 colon A11, comma, I go C3 colon to D11, comma, I'm going to go F3 colon F11, comma, I3 colon I11. And press, just check what I've got there. A3 to A11, C3 to D11, it's two columns. F3 to F11, I3 to I11. And you see it selects, when I press enter it selects that. Of course now if I do any arrow keys it unselects them all. So once things are selected you've got to be careful to do what you do. So that's Control G, the sort of go-to method. Okay, very quick, I'll just do it one more time. Control G, A3 colon A11, comma to separate columns, H3 colon H11, press enter. There's my selection. I want to make a chart, so I press F11. I want to change the chart to a pie. Alt, let go, JC, C, tab, P for pie. I want to make 3D, so tab, right arrow, enter. And then I can obviously add my bits and bobs that I want to add from there, etc. Again, there's a video. I'll do a video on all the keys that you can use, keyboard shortcuts for making pie charts or making charts. Okay, so I hope that is useful. Any questions, please put them in the comments. Thank you for watching.